Homelessness is a big issue here in the city of Kingston, and here to tell me more about it, I have Amanda Brierley from Street Outreach. So thank you so much for coming in to talk about this. It's such a big issue right now in Kingston. Well, it is everywhere, but certainly here in Kingston. So tell me about what Street Outreach is.
Yes, so thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure.
And Street Outreach is a program that's been around in our city now for 6 years. It started back in 2016, 2017 as a pilot project. And since then it's evolved to be a 7-day-a-week program within our city. We have 4 street outreach workers that go out Monday through Sunday throughout the whole city of Kingston and locate our homeless individuals, support, help find housing, resources, get them connected to meal programs, shelters if they're willing to go, and then if not, then helping them find housing right from the street where they're at.
What is it about the unhoused homelessness that most of us don't understand?
So I think it's the hardships, right? Nobody's chosen to be homeless, and nobody wants to be homeless. Homelessness doesn't have a face. We see people that, stigma says they're homeless, but they're actually housed. We see individuals you wouldn't think are homeless that are homeless. And so I think the biggest thing is the stigma around the individuals that are homeless. These individuals have had very trying times, a lot of trauma in their past, whether it be through their homelessness or previous to their homelessness experience. We also know people who have experienced homelessness are at risk of experiencing it again. And so, we do see that generational cycle as well come through.
I heard somewhere that drug addiction causes homelessness, but then I heard it's the other way around. It's homelessness that leads to
drug addiction.
Is that, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, I did hear it right then.
So a lot of people say, people are homeless due to their drug addiction. Quite often these individuals don't resort to drugs until they've faced homelessness. And it's a means of coping, it's a survival skill, whether it be to keep them up all night so that they're not sleeping, being exposed to other individuals, whether it's just helping them cope with the trauma and their own mental health that they've gone through. I mean, there's several different reasons, but typically people don't resort to those heavy drug use until they're entrenched in that homelessness cycle.
I find that people are not particularly sympathetic toward this. And some of the comments, and maybe you can address some of these, that, there's shelters. Why don't they go to a shelter? They give them a shelter to go to, they won't go. What do you say to that?
Yeah. There are many reasons why people won't come to shelter. And so we have to understand on an individual basis. Somebody may have been harmed in a shelter by another individual, and so they're fearful to go back. Other individuals may have never experienced the shelter and have been told what it's like and have misconceptions of what it's like and are feared to go in. Some of these individuals have been harmed by workers in our system and they're scared to enter the shelter system. There are many different reasons why, but it's not just because they don't want to. They have a true reasoning as to why they're not wanting to come into shelter.
What needs to change about the shelter system so that that doesn't happen? Where are we coming up short?
So I think the city has done a really good job in trying to amend those, and they've created more shelters within our system. And I think it's just the matter of those individuals having to experience those to see that they're there and that they're safe places for them to be.
And then there's special needs. They may have a pet who maybe their one and only friend in this world is their pet. They may have a spouse and they're saying, no, this is only for men, your wife needs to go somewhere else. So do we need to address that?
So that's where I think the city's done a good job at addressing some of those things. 218 Concession Street, which is our warming center, and Adelaide, which is another warming center that the city has opened, those are pet friendly. Well, 218 is pet friendly. Adelaide and Concession Street both allow couples to stay together. So we are trying to break some of those barriers for those individuals.
So we run across somebody who is homeless, and usually they've got most of their belongings with them. That's how it's kind of a giveaway. What can we as individuals do that doesn't offend them, doesn't make it worse for them? We think we're doing the right thing, but we don't know. What can we do?
Yeah. So smile, say hello. They're human, humanize them. They're just like you and I. And then see if they want support. Some of them won't part from their belongings because that's all they have. Others are willing to look at storage, and so currently right now the Street Outreach Program does offer storage. We have 2 sea containers in the city that individuals are allowed to sign a consent to store their stuff in those sea containers. And so we've helped kind of eliminate some of those barriers where they're not having to travel with their stuff all the time. The city also just recently has opened up a storage sea container at 362 Montreal Street as well.
Now, somebody's watching and they say, yeah, it's a problem. I'm lucky. I have a roof. I'm okay. I don't have a lot of extra money to donate. What else can they do?
Absolutely. So money is not going to solve everything. It's like I said, it's humanizing. It's going down and saying hi, having a conversation with those individuals, taking down a coffee. If you make a coffee at home and take it down to them. It also is seeing what shelters or street programs need, because maybe it's volunteering, going out, taking a meal out to those individuals, that kind of stuff as well.
That's what's welcome. What isn't welcome?
What isn't welcomed?
Yeah.
It's the stigma, the comments, get a job, go to shelter. Why do you have that dog when you can't take care of yourself? Those are the things we don't need. Those are not helpful to any of the individuals on our streets.
It just makes you feel better to say something like that. It makes you just, yeah, I get it. Yeah. So if the United Way has been a big part of your success, tell me about that relationship.
Yes. So we're so fortunate to have the United Way here in Kingston, and they're such a huge help. So the United Way actually funds 2 of our street outreach positions. So they fund our community outreach and our Indigenous outreach worker. And so without that funding, we would not be able to cover 7 days a week on the streets.
Terrific. So another good way to support the United Way, a good reason to support the United Way.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad you came in today. Thank you for sharing this.
Thank you so much, Donna, for having me.